Structured Poker, everyone. You're watching the Structured Poker course, the only course you'll ever have to watch to by yourself learn how to beat cash games. Structured because it will be in the chronological order. We start with easy topics, to intermediate, and then the advanced ones in a structured way, so everyone can follow and learn all there is to know to by yourself beat the games. Today we're here with Season 1, Understanding Poker, Episode 2, Game Types and Income. Let's learn what win rates are realistic and what games you should be playing. This course focuses on Texas Hold'em poker, more specifically No Limit Hold'em poker, which is a game format where each player is dealt 2 cards. In other variations, players may be dealt 4, 5, 6 or even more cards. No Limit Hold'em means that you sit to the table with a certain amount of chips and you can bet all of your chips at any given time. Other formats like Pot Limit will cap the maximum amount you bet to the pot size. Texas Hold'em poker, or more specifically here, No Limit Hold'em poker, will have different ways of playing it. The 2 major ones are tournaments and cash games. In a tournament, you pay an entry fee, like everyone else, and you get a certain amount of chips, and then you play until you lose all of your chips, and in the end, one player is remaining who wins the tournament and the biggest prize. The problem about it is that if you're eliminated early, you're knocked out, you leave with nothing. In cash games, on the other hand, you choose the amount you want to buy in within the table limit, and then you play for as long as you want, not until anyone wins everything. So you could win a pot and leave when you have doubled your stack. You could lose a stack and leave the table, or you could rebuy and keep playing for as long as you want. Tournaments and cash games have some variations. In tournaments, you don't necessarily have to win until there's one winner. You could also agree that you play until there are 3, 5, 10, 20, 100 players remaining, and all those remaining will share the prize pool. This is common for satellite tournaments, which is just a qualifier event for a main tournament. When there are, for example, 50 players remaining, all of the 50 players get a ticket to play the main event. Also, tournaments usually start at a certain time. So for example, you could say the tournament starts at 8 o'clock. Whoever joins by 8 o'clock, or maybe with a tolerance, a late registration period, will be able to play, and whoever's too late may not be playing. Other tournaments do not start at a certain time, but when there's a certain amount of players. So for example, once 9 players join, we will start. Once 18 players join, we will start. Once 6 players join, we will start. These are called sit and goes, and they also, other than this, will play like classic tournaments. There's a prize pool, and then the top player will earn most. Whoever's eliminated early leaves with nothing. Then sit and goes has different variations like spin and goes, which is the same as sit and goes, just that the prize pool is randomized. There's a lottery factor to it. You don't know exactly how much you're playing for before it starts. Cash games are a bit more straightforward, as in you just sit at the table when you want and leave when you want, but a variation could be a so-called fast fold poker game, where once you fold a hand, you're immediately going to be joining a next table. This is only possible online, of course. Live that would be a bit hard to do. So the main differences in cash games are either the classic ones where you sit at the table, you fold, you wait and see the other guys playing, or the fast fold variation where you fold your hand and immediately get dealt a new one on a new table. Both tournaments and cash games have advantages and disadvantages. The advantage of a tournament is that you could win the main prize and make a lot of money at once. The disadvantage is that the structure increases the variance, meaning only the top players receive a large prize. The other players that reach in the money zone, they will win a small prize, and most players, they leave with nothing. A consequence is that tournament players are frequently on a downswing because they have to wait for months, sometimes even years, until they hit that big price to be up again to compensate for all the entry fees that they are losing. An exception could be sit and goes, classic one table sit and goes with a low amount of players playing. The problem is that this format is dying out online and now is being replaced by spin and goes, where the prize pool is random, which again increases the variance. So in short, tournaments are good for you if you want the excitement of potentially winning a big prize, and the downside to it is that you're constantly going to be on a downswing. To be fair, once you reach the higher stakes and you have a very big bankroll, the ceiling of earnings is going to be higher in tournaments, but only once you really have a large bankroll and move up the stakes. Especially online, this could be the case. The last advantage is that if you're playing for the glory, the fame, of course you'll get more glory and fame if you win a big tournament, but nothing stops a cash game player to occasionally be cherry picking the best tournaments and give it a shot. The main advantage of cash games is its stability. You can enter a game whenever you want and leave it when you want, whereas in a tournament, if you decide to join, you have to play for 6, 7, 8 or 10 hours until you get knocked out. So in cash games, you can plan to play for 1 hour, 2 hours, you can play your day, week, month nicely and have a good routine, a good schedule and a better lifestyle. Also, the variance requirement is lower. You will be on downswings, but they're not going to be as severe as in tournaments, meaning they are a little bit less stressful than tournaments. For this reason, the lifestyle I pick to play cash games, and this is why the course is also going to be about cash games. I also think that for playing live, the ceiling, especially if you have contacts and get invited to soft games, are actually higher for cash games than for tournaments. Online, admittedly, once you play 500 NL, you grow a huge bankroll that you could be playing tournaments. It could be an idea of switching if you're prepared for the tougher lifestyle. So cash games, win rates. Let's talk about how much money you can make. First, careful. A lot of people talk a lot of things, a lot of nonsense. Don't listen to them, listen to me here. Of course, insanely high win rates are possible. For example, a 500 NL professional player who sits at the table with $500, if he was to play 5 NL sitting with $5, of course he would have huge win rates. Second, if you play a small sample, you have, and this is very small samples online, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 hands, of course huge win rates are going to be possible due to variance. However, is someone with a huge bankroll who is able to beat 500 NL just going to play 5 NL for a huge win rate? No. So realistically, if you have a very huge win rate in one game, you are just going to be playing a higher stake. And this is going to be talking about realistic win rates at stakes that will match your current level and not some pro for fun playing a lower stakes game just to show that the games are beatable for insane win rates. What are realistic win rates? It depends. You need to know that the goal in this game is not to have the highest win rate possible, but to make the highest hourly possible. So don't ask people for win rates. Some people may have a much higher win rates than others, but still make less money than the other because they just play a low number of hands. So there are different type of tables. There's one where only a low win rate is possible. For example, a fast fold game, but in compensation you can play more hands in an hour. Also for regular tables, some will have lower win rates if there's only one recreational player. But then there are other people who prefer to select tables more carefully, to only play a few tables that have very soft opponents. In these, you're going to be playing higher win rates, but you play a lower volume, less hands, because you will only find a few tables that are really nice. It is easy to see how someone playing a huge amount of tables will have a lower win rate, but in the end, consider volume and win rate. So, in games where you typically play a high volume, either because you play many tables without table selecting or because you play fast fold games, typically a decent player doesn't have much of a win rate pre-rake back on most sides. So let's say they're about break even, 0. But for the win rate you also need to consider the rake back. And of course the players with higher volume on most sides, due to having higher VIP ranks, or because they reach leaderboards, they get more rake back. So let's assume something realistic for a very high volume player means 3 big blinds per 100, and they can play maybe 1,000 hands in an hour. Then if someone table selects a bit, plays normal regular tables, including rake back, they could be achieving something like 5 big blinds per 100, 3 big blinds per 100 pre-rake back, and then 2 big blinds per 100 in rake back. To maximize your rake back, join yourpokerdream.com with the referral PPT100 for extra rake back. And then there are players who play only the softest tables, and if you have access to them, the softest sides, then of course win rates of 5, 6, 7, 8 big blinds per 100 pre-rake back are possible. Most players will fit into the category of higher volume, maybe 100,000 hands in a month with about 3 big blinds per 100 including everything, or with slightly lower volume, maybe about 60,000 hands in a month with a win rate including everything of 5 big blinds per 100. you can make the calculations and you will see that something realistic for normal regular is going to be maybe winning 30 buy-ins in a month. So if you're playing 500 NL, $15,000 in a month is possible. 200 NL, $6,000 in a month is very achievable. But for the realistic stakes, maybe you want to achieve in the short to medium run, 25 NL, 15 NL, maybe $750, $1,500 per month. Oh, but I heard that someone is making 100 buy-ins in a month, blah, blah, blah. Yes, of course it is possible. You could also become the next best poker player in the world. Then you would be making even more and you could become a millionaire. I'm talking about realistic expectations for you if you study this game and become a regular. Of course, if you think you can be the best in the world, you will have even higher win rates, make even more buy-ins in a month, and can achieve insane incomes. This course will teach you all technical ability needed to beat stakes like 25 or 50 NL. Please be aware that beating stakes like 100, 200 or 500 NL is not going to be a walk in the park on most sites. You will need a lot of talent, dedication, and also you will need to have good performance. Performance is a topic many players underrate, but not with me. We'll learn more about it here. For live players, I'll keep it short. The income depends a lot on where you live and what games you have access to. In the US, the typical low stakes games win rates between 6 to 10 big blinds per hour are possible, so you can make your calculations on how much money you'll make in a month. If all this sounds good to you, subscribe to the channel and join the Discord group. Episode 3 will be released soon.